Hi, I'm the Dreaded Geek. Welcome back. Today we're going to do a review of a strategy game that I bought some time ago from an independent publisher in the Birmingham Games Expo in the United Kingdom. It's a loosely Japanese themed chess-like strategy game with very simple rules and really deep strategy. I really enjoy the game. So I wanted to pull it out and do a quick review of it and give it some publicity on the channel. The name of the game is Kamisado. The rule booklet is relatively thin, but has really small print and is fairly detailed. It comes with a playthrough, a sample playthrough of the game that is explained in detail in here, to give you an idea, a better idea of how to play when you read through the rules. It is the type of game that is much easier to explain to somebody than to try to learn from a rulebook. The game board is an 8x8 square, with each column and row of the game board having exactly one square or tile of each of the colors of the game. The black piece is set up on one side of the board, just like chess, with each piece's symbol matching the color of the square that they start on, and the white pieces on the other side. The last time I played this game was by candlelight, and I can tell you that this is not a game for colorblind players. The colors very easily start looking very similar to one another. Each of the towers can move in one of three ways, in one of two ways, I guess. They can move straight forward or diagonally forward, and they can move any number of squares per move. The trick to the game is that whatever square you finish a move on, your opponent has to move the piece that has the matching color symbol on top of it. So if I move my piece to the brown square, my opponent has to move their brown piece. They could move forward any number or diagonally only as far as I'm blocking their progress. The objective of the game is to get one of your towers to your opponent's home row. So given that objective, now that I have a piece that has a direct move into that home row, my opponent can never end a move on an orange square, or they'll be handing me the game. So my objective is to force them to end on an orange square. As the game progresses, I need to move my brown piece, so I'll force him to move his brown piece again. Because he can't move diagonally this way, the pieces always have to move forward towards your opponent's home row. So because he can't move diagonally forward this way, he has to move either straight forward or back in this direction, either of which now gives my pink piece a direct move to the home row. His ideal move would be to re-block the row that he'd moved off to block my orange piece, but that happens to be a pink square, which opens himself up to losing the game. So moving diagonally, he can move to blue or straight to purple or red, because orange or pink is a losing move. So I've already restricted him to only one of three possible colors. This early in the game, I haven't set up a direct advantage for myself on any of those three colors. But the strategy of the game is starting to become clear. If he moves to red, I force him to move his brown piece again. Now he has a choice between orange and pink, both of which are losing moves, pink or blue, so I've forced him to move into blue. See, now I shouldn't ever land on brown, because I'm handing him the win if I do. That's the one problem with landing on the same color too many times, is that you've advanced that piece this close to your home row. So the strategies are quite deep. There's a lot of things to think about in terms of where you move, which pieces you're moving, which options you still leave available for your opponent to move to. Ideally, you want to keep your pieces in their 8 rows, their 8 columns on the board, and not end up having to stack them like this, which leaves a lot of open spaces on my home row that they can move into. Even as the game progresses and I'm starting to move forward, this is a much more easily defendable position than this. There's a lot more routes across the board that they can take for victory if I'm spread out like that. Every open route into my home row is a color that I can never land on without losing the game, and therefore limits my options in movement. Eventually, you find a way of moving that forces a winning move, or forces your opponent to allow you to move a piece that has a route to the home row, and that's how you win the game. There are a couple of twists to the rules. It is possible, in this situation, I move to an orange square, and his orange piece can't move. Black would forfeit that move, and I would have to move my orange piece because it was his orange piece that couldn't move. And I'll make him move red to open up that corner, which gives me a lot of strength in that corner. If I'm unlucky and do something like this and make him move orange, and he can't move his orange piece, so I have to move mine, and I can't move my orange piece either, this is called a deadlock, and because I created the deadlock, I lose the game. My opponent wins. That's it for the basic play of the game. The rules are very simple, very straightforward, very easy to learn. The strategy is a lot deeper than you would think when you first hear the rules of the game. There are some optional extra rules. When you force your opponent to miss a turn, the optional rule is to place one of these crystals on the tower that forced the player to miss a turn, and that tower becomes a sumo. A sumo can then push an opponent's piece back one, and therefore is not blocked by a piece directly in front of them. So in this situation, if black lands on pink, I'm not blocked because I can push yellow back. In that situation, however, I'm still blocked. If I have forced 2 skipped moves with my pink and have 2 crystals, I'm a double sumo, which means that I can push 2 pieces back. Always just 1 square, but I'm capable of pushing more pieces back. If I've caused 3 lost moves, I can become a triple sumo, and I can push as many as 3 pieces back. And that's as far as that goes, largely because the towers are no bigger than that, and I can't get any more crystals on my towers. But a triple sumo is as far as that goes. I can then get out of this blockade by pushing all 3 of these pieces back one and taking that move. It's an optional rule. It doesn't add a whole lot to the game. Blocked pieces are quite rare in my experience, and so the sumo rule doesn't get used very much in the first place, and even if it did, the chances that you're going to get blocked and it's going to be the same piece that you blocked with earlier in the game, and that you're going to happen to have the ability to push that piece back to get out of it, is so rare that I don't think the optional rule adds enough enjoyment to the game to be worth the extra complexity. So I've never played with it, but it's there if you think it's worth the time. That's it. That's Kamisado. It's on the box. It says it takes about 20 minutes to play a game. I've never really been in a situation where we've had two experienced players who know the game playing each other, and it may take longer in that situation, but usually it takes between 5 and 10 for me to get through a game with the people I'm teaching who are new to the game, or if they play each other, so there's even when there's a skill balance. But 20 minutes probably isn't unlikely if you do get two skilled players together. This has been a review of Kamisado, a strategy game.
And I am the dreaded Geek. Thanks for watching. Geek.